brainwashed, or had sex with him when they were minors. And they felt that, they are saying, look, we are victims of R. Kelly. And that's why the series was called Surviving R. Kelly, because they feel they are survivors of abuse and of sexual misconduct on the part of R. Kelly. And what you learn in that series is that there are a lot of women out there who are coming forward now, all these years later, after he was indicted, after all the allegations went on over the past couple of decades when it comes to R. Kelly. Now, we should be very clear that his attorney has said in the very beginning, we have not heard from him today, but in the very beginning when we asked him about this particular videotape, this newly uncovered videotape, we learned from him that he had no knowledge of it, that he had not heard anything from law enforcement, that he had not been contacted by law enforcement, that he was unaware of anything, and he called hogwash on the information. Now, fast forward a week, and now the state's attorney saying, we are indicting R&B singer R. Kelly, that he is being indicted, and he is being indicted today. So this is a stunning turn of events. I have just spoken with the producer of that series, Surviving R. Kelly, Tamara Simmons. She responded with no words at first. She took a deep breath and said, I have been waiting for so long. I have lived with this and listening to these survivor stories, and I have been waiting for so long. And the survivors, the women who have come out and accused R. Kelly of sexual misconduct with them when they were minors. I spoke to one of them, and she says, all I want is for justice to be done. And this to never happen to someone else. Now, again, R. Kelly has been very clear over the years, and he was acquitted in his 2008 trial. Right. He says he has not done anything illegal with minors at all. Brooke?
Sarah Seidner, you have been phenomenal on this. We're not going to let you go too far. As soon as you get more, we'll bring you back on. We've been talking about this docuseries, R. Kelly, and the news is that he has now been officially indicted. Jamila Lemieux was in this phenomenal series. She's a former senior editor at Ebony Magazine, and Joey Jackson with her, one of our all-star lawyers here at CNN. But I have been wanting to talk to you. Do you have words for this?
You know, I too am a little bit speechless. We have waited for so long. I'm trying not to cry. I grew up in Chicago. Some of those girls were my peers. We were in high school when that first tape was recorded, and to have heard these stories for years, you know, and to juxtapose that with Jussie Smollett being charged in a matter of days. Right? That it didn't take that long to figure out that maybe something wasn't right with this story, allegedly. That we've been asking for decades to pay attention to the stories of these black girls.
Why do you think it took so long?
Because they were black. His victims consistently, his accusers have been black girls. Not class mobile black girls, not famous black girls from the south side of Chicago, black girls from communities like that across the country. And we have been told over and over again that his musical talent, his fame, his manhood mattered more than what he's been accused of doing to so many little girls, 13, 14, 15, 16, 19. This man is over 50 years old. It's devastating that it's taken this long, but I'm so glad that we're here today.
I want to come back to you. Joey Jackson, I know, it's like, this has been decades, and I see your eyes. I see the tears welling, and, you know, for you, on the legal piece of this, because people want answers. We need facts, right? We live in a place we can't jump to any conclusions, but we are going to see this indictment. We're going to hear from prosecutors in the next hour. What will this indictment tell us?
Okay, so great points, Brooke. So let's talk about the process. First of all, an indictment, we should be clear, is an accusation. And what that means is that you assemble 16 people into a grand jury room. There's no judge. A prosecutor presents evidence to a grand jury. There's no defense attorney. There's no cross cross-examination. The witnesses are not vetted. They give their story. If 9 of those 16 people vote that the case should move forward, it's voted out. A grand jury is not deciding guilt. They're not deciding innocence. They're deciding 2 things. Is there reasonable cause to believe that a crime was committed, and did R. Kelly commit that crime? And so an indictment, even though it's an accusation, is highly significant because you have a group of people in the community who have determined that it can move on to the next phase. And at that next phase, it'll be critical because that's when it will be tested. And on the issue of testing, apparently, the indictment is predicated largely, apparently, on a videotape that was provided. And so we have to be very careful and cautious as to a videotape. Where did the videotape come from? What is its chain of custody? That is, how many sources did it go through? Was it edited in any way? Was technology superimposed in any way? We have been down this line before, so we need to be cautious. What am I referring to? In 2002, when a case was brought forward, they had a videotape then. Apparently not as clear as this videotape, but they had 2 problems. Number one, suggesting that the person on the tape was R. Kelly. Now, apparently it clearly appears to be him here, but was there, any foul play involved in making of the videotape? The second issue they had was the victim. The victim did not testify in that first case, and so we're going to be looking to see if they do. There are other problems, and that relates to the statute of limitations. Apparently, we're being told, right, on the issue of statute of limitations, what does that mean? You have a certain amount of time to bring forward charges. There are 37 states, in addition to the federal government, that have no statute of limitations on minor sex. But let's be clear about this. A lot of those statutes came after R. Kelly's conduct. At the time at issue, it was a 20-year statute of limitations. That means you have, if you're a minor, 20 years from when you're 18 to bring forward charges. So we have to look and see when the videotape, what's the origin, and how many years, how old was the victim, and if the victim is over 38 years old, it presents a problem out of the box.
Just when you think back in that when it was 14 counts of child pornography when he was acquitted in 2008, that whole trial centered on that then sex tape. Now we're talking about a totally separate tape involving this 14-year-old young woman in which they refer to her 14-year-old genitalia multiple times. She does, and allegedly he does as well. And Jamila, back to you. I mean, it's almost like, and again, when you watch Surviving R. Kelly, and as I was just talking to Sarah, it's like it all begins with him cruising these high schools and talking to these young girls, and so much of this allegedly happened in plain sight.
I constantly refer back to Aaliyah, the late singer Aaliyah's first album, which was produced by R. Kelly. It's called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. She is 14 at the time this picture would have been taken. He's 27, and he's in the background looking at her. He's in every music video. They're wearing matching outfits. They're doing interviews in matching outfits, being coy about their relationships, saying we're best friends. Lady never tells when she's asked about her age. And this was someone who was 15 years old on this press run, in plain sight. There were hit records that were crafted, not just the suggestion, not just the, looking back at a song like Seems Like You're Ready. Perhaps that's about, cajoling a younger woman into doing something she's not ready to do.
Yeah.
But this was clearly saying age isn't nothing but a number. Here I am with a beautiful teenage girl. What are you going to do about it? And for 30 years, the answer has been from the community, from the music industry, and from various law enforcement agencies, we're not going to do anything.
And he was denied through the years. He was acquitted in 2008. How did so many of these women have such access to him as he blew up? How did that happen?
He went looking for them. And again, these were girls. Most of them were teenage girls, most of the accusers at the point in which they met him for the first time. So he's going up to his alma mater, his high school. He's going to the McDonald's nearby, or the Burger King near my high school, or the Rock and Roll McDonald's in downtown Chicago. He's going to the mall when he travels. He's going to places where teenage girls are. He's had people in the crowd, allegedly, at shows, picking girls. They know what he likes.
Security guards,
enablers.
That's what those 2 women said yesterday who came out.
On that issue, Brooke, I'd be looking very closely when this case moves forward at how many other, we call them prior bad acts in law, are going to be admitted into this case, meaning this case is about what it's about. And when we get the indictment, we'll look at it, we'll evaluate years, on the counts, but how many other will the judges allow in terms of the misconduct to be heard by this jury when they're in panel? That's important because it goes to, motive. It goes to your sort of common plan and scheme, and it goes to your MO in terms of who you are, and jurors find that to be very compelling. So it's going to be important.
Okay, we're going to stand by for that. I also want to hear from you what justice even looks like in this case. I have so many more questions on all of this R. Kelly news today, waiting for that news conference just a short while from now. Thank you guys for now very much. We have more breaking news.